But first, I want to ask you about the Racket News Library because that seems important.
Yeah, so I don't know when you first noticed this, but yeah, years ago I started to notice that newspapers were no longer linking to primary source materials.
Hmm.
Like they would mention a court case or a hearing.
Yeah, New York Times always been real stingy about that.
Yeah, but well, they weren't always. That's the weird part, right? They used to give you the opportunity to go look at the source document.
No, they
Uh,
may have gotten worse, but I
yeah.
never thought they were good at it. I mean, I started writing for antiwar.com when I started writing, and the
Hmm.
ethic there was, this is the internet. How dare you make a claim and not link to evidence of it?
Right?
You don't have the right to make a claim without proving it. What are you doing? How could you? What would
And
even
why
be the
would
point of making a claim if you're not going to demonstrate it? So I just feel that way about every little thing. That's why my book has 7,000 footnotes.
yeah, but the thing is, you wrote a book. Once you buy a book, you have it, right? The problem with the internet now is that, there's been this phenomena of link rot, right? You go to Wikipedia, you look for the sources, and a lot of them are just error messages now
Yeah.
because when you're linking to things, it's usually to a page. The actual thing is not uploaded, on the site. Even when you go to the Wayback Machine, which is images of things, uh, well, it's copyrighted. So if somebody who has a copyrighted thing goes to the Wayback Machine and says, I want you to take that down, they have to do it. So there's been this epidemic of sort of disappearing history. And what we're doing now is when a new story comes out, we will do like a timeline where we just upload all the key videos or documents or whatever they are, and we're not linking to them. They're actually there on the page. They'll be there forever, and you can take them if you want. And we're trying to inspire other people to do the same thing. Because my worry is that and I don't know if you heard this, but Amazon is also switching to a model where when you buy a book, you're not buying it forever. You're just buying temporary access to it. They can retrieve it, change it at any time. And
Yeah,
this
on
is
your Kindle.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this
I
is
swear to God, this is true, man. In like 1983, when I was in third grade, I remember getting in an argument with a teacher because we read a story in class where it was the future and all the books were little computer tablets. And I don't know if I've been watching The Outer Limits or what was going on with me at that time. But I
Mhm.
remember saying to her, aha, see, they could change it and they could make the history whatever they want. And you wouldn't have a permanent record of what had happened anymore. And I remember her looking at me like, what is with you? But I guess I've been like this since I was a little kid, but I still remember that happening, like that discussion. That was my first impression. If the teacher is teaching off an electronic tablet, they could change the history, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Look, it's Fahrenheit 451, right?
Yeah. And I
It,
hadn't read Orwell yet. I mean, I was a precocious kid, but I wasn't that far ahead. So I don't
mhm.
know what I was, it may have been I was watching The Outer Limits or something like that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, but you were ahead of your time, definitely.
I've been stuck like this for a while now.
'Cause I do think this is the next big thing after censorship is going to be disappearing
Yeah.
history.
Hey, listen,
Uh,
I think this is so important, and not to talk about myself more, but working on this book, that was the hardest thing. I mean, there were times where I spent days on one
mhm,
footnote. Like, I have to
mhm,
find this. I have to prove it. Some guy came to me last week on the Twitter and was like, "Hey, man, you have this article from the London Times about the war in Serbia and the SAS trained these terrorists and stuff, but where's the original?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know anymore. I'm sorry." Wherever, I
right.
mean, a lot of times, some of these books that I read, like about the Balkan Wars, like, bless those authors for including the text of the URLs in their books. And I
Hmm.
had to take the URLs out of my book just for space, but I have a file online where I kept the URLs there for you. But a lot of these times, like I would have to Google just parts of URLs and then find a message board that linked to a thing that had a archive at Free Republic that linked to another thing. And then there's a, it's really adventures in especially the stuff from the 90s on the Balkan War stuff. And then, the further back you go, the harder it is. But then, yeah, a lot of times, the Wayback Machine, even, you would think it'd be easy to find on there. It's on there somewhere, but you got to really like work hard to get it to pull up the right thing and whatever. I don't know.
And it's not their fault. They're
Yeah.
doing the best they can, but
It is. It's a horrible phenomenon. Like, the saying used to be the internet is forever and whatever. No, it ain't. Link rot is horrible. So that's a great project that you're doing there.
You is forever. The stuff about the government is not forever.
Yeah, exactly.